Okay. Well, welcome everyone to our November 17th board meeting. Appreciate you all being here. I'd ask first that we'd all stand for the pledge to the American flag, followed by a moment of silent reflection. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, I'll turn to Mrs. Roberts for roll call. Board members, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zingmeister.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mrs. Johns.
Here.
Mr. Kimmer.
Here.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Here.
All board members present. Thank you. Go to 1.5 minutes. There's a motion to approve the minutes as attached, the November 3rd minutes of our last meeting. Is there any additions or corrections? If not, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Johns. Will there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smeltzer. Discussion. No discussion. We'll turn to question. Mrs. Roberts, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zingmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes, motion passed unanimous. Turns us to 1.6, adjustments to the agenda. Any adjustments to the agenda? Mr.
No
Miller?
adjustments at this time.
Okay, sir. Moves on to the information discussion. 2.1, superintendent updates. Turn to Mr. Belleville, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kimmer. Good evening, everybody. Glad everybody could be here. Good turnout for the meeting, which is always exciting. Want to dive right in. I've asked Ms. Toller to have her officers from the National Honor Society here this evening. Our chapter of the National Honor Society received a pretty lofty recognition earlier this year. Mr. Schaefer, do you want to speak at all? Or we'll turn over to Ms. Toller?
Okay. So Mrs. Toller passed on some information earlier this year of a recognition that's pretty special. I would say it's a pretty distinguished honor that our chapter had been given in regards to service, and specifically centered around their annual Christmas shopping trip, which we're getting ready here in just a few short weeks to do this year. And it was just recognizing the entire chapter for their dedication to both elementary schools and that trip that they go on each year. Mrs. Toller, is there anything you want to add on top of that?
We're just honored that our chapter was recognized by them. It was an award that was offered to all of the National Honor Societies and National and Junior Honor Societies internationally, and they selected 106 of us to be recognized and to receive that award. So I thought that was pretty prestigious for us to be part of that. Students work really hard, and I work really hard every year to make that trip a reality, and the community has supported us. This will be this is our 8th year doing that in this district. It's my 23rd overall. I've been involved with it for 24 years. It's my 23rd year running it. So obviously I'm very vested in that, very passionate about this trip. And we just see such amazing results out of this. You wouldn't think that simple things like clothing and shoes would make such a difference, but they really do. And we just see so many positive rewards for both our high school students that are involved and for our elementary students that are involved. And it's just very rewarding for all of us. So to have that hard work recognized, we're just beyond pleased and just humbled that someone else recognized the value of that experience for our students.
And Kate, kind of put you on the spot as president. What, from a student perspective, what does this trip mean to you guys, and to be recognized for your service on a national level?
It's just, I first went as a freshman, as a part of student council. So, I had no idea that this was something that our high school did. And it was honestly something that I wish I could have been involved in middle school as well. Because it was humbling, seeing what students just in our district go through. Being able to be involved in something like that was pretty great.
Fantastic.
Okay, Well, I do have some certificates in honoring you all, but Mrs. Toller, you mentioned it was an honor for you to receive this award, but it's an honor for Fairfield Union Schools for what you've all done, the leadership of all of you, and so it's a privilege to be able to pass these certificates out and recognize you officers and the leadership that you've done. So I will step up here. I'll read.
Pictures? We'll get pictures individually and then
Yes,
as a group?
yes, so I'll call each one of you up individually. Kate Smelser. Kate Smelser, please come up first. Fairfield Union Local School District awards this certificate to Kate Smelser for your outstanding leadership of the Fairfield Union National Honor Society.
Thank you.
And then Kate, we'll have you back up for pictures in a minute.
Okay.
Madeline Alexander. Maddie? Fairfield Union Local School District awards this certificate to Madeline Alexander for outstanding leadership of the Fairfield Union National Honor Society. Lily Stoffel. Fairfield Union Local School District awards this certificate to Lily Stoffel for your outstanding leadership of the Fairfield Union High School National Honor Society. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you.
Jonas Squires. Fairfield Union Local School District awards this certificate to Jonas Squires for your outstanding leadership of the Fairfield Union High School National Honor Society. Thank you. Appreciate you. Addison Fay. Fairfield Union Local School District awards this certificate to Addison Fay for your outstanding leadership of the Fairfield Union High School National Honor Society. Thank you. Appreciate you. Kelly McCutcheon. Fairfield Union Local School District awards this certificate to Callie McCutcheon for your outstanding leadership of the Fairfield Union High School National Honor Society. Thank you, Cal. Appreciate you. An outstanding advisor you have, Caroline Toller. Mrs. Toller, please. Fairfield Union Local School District awards this certificate to Caroline Toller for her outstanding leadership of the Fairfield Union High School National Honor Society.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. I couldn't do it without you guys.
Okay, now if everybody come up and board members. Kate, I know where you're going. Tammy, I know where you're.
Ms. Jones, will you move that chair?
I will.
Just slide it that way a little
Yes.
bit. Great.
Okay.
All right.
Can you see?
1, 2, 3. All right. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Appreciate all of your support. We could not do it without you guys, so thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, they're there.
Okay. Everybody's good? All right.
Really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, it won't be disrespectful to leave. You're so welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd like, but, yeah, not disrespectful whatsoever. Yeah, I know you need to go, okay?
Thank you, guys.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Good evening.
Appreciate it.
And
Thank
good
you.
luck with
Appreciate
the
you.
trip here in a
Yep,
couple of
coming up
weeks.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, I'm sure Mr. Bell will update us with your trip.
Yes,
So
we are going the 2nd and the 3rd, so it is coming
We'll be excited here.
Final details being made, so, thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Oops. Uh-oh, I just went blind. Just a second. I gotta put myself back up. There we go. Okay, we'll come back to Mr. Belleville for additional superintendent updates.
Fairly short agenda this evening. We do have two resignations. Mr. Short, who was an aide at the high school, is resigning for family issues. And Mr. Getz, who's part of our maintenance team, is intending to take another job elsewhere. So would recommend we approve those resignations. Surely hate to see those guys go, but certainly understand, life circumstances happen and you just have to take that one day at a time. We also have a quote on the board agenda for the demolition of the Sheets house, and can answer any questions as we get to that spot on the agenda. And then really excited about the opportunity to expand our workforce development presence. We obviously have had a great relationship with Eastland Fairfield Career Center over the years. The last year or two, have students attending the Workforce Development Center in Fairfield County and opportunities there. And we're constantly trying to explore and find avenues, pathways for students who maybe don't have a plan after school. So this is another pathway that would be specific to seniors only. So it's a one-year pathway. We've been studying what New Lexington has done with their Workforce Development Center and really some incredible programs that they've gotten started. And as we were meeting with them and asking questions and exploring, conversation came up about a potential partnership where our students could utilize some of their facilities to earn credentials, get some work-based learning hours, and it's what started as just a casual conversation about a year ago, well, a little over a year ago. Casey Coffey, the superintendent at New Lexington, and I were having talks at the New Lexington Fairfield Union football game last year, just asking questions. And as our team has gone and visited there, we just more and more interest. And then New Lex finally said, "Hey, we have some open seats. Would you guys be interested?" We anticipate having 3 students that would go to New Lexington in the second semester for phlebotomy. We utilize a program at Workforce Development Center for phlebotomy, but the partnership with Hocking there has hit a couple of snags, and the program is extremely full, overflowing almost. And so this was an opportunity that we could guarantee 3 spots at New Lex and Genesis Healthcare Systems, the hospital in Somerset, guarantees placement of these students at the hospital in Somerset. So kids will be able to get some really great experiences there. And just want to point out how welcoming New Lexington has been to Mr. Denny, Mr. Schaefer, Mr. Johns, myself, as we've gone over to look at things. Mr. Schaffner's been over there, and we've gotten some great ideas, especially around our media class, some things that we could do in-house potentially, and we're exploring that. So it's exciting. It's just an additional pathway. It's not replacing anything we currently do. Just, again, trying to find as many opportunities as possible for kids that maybe don't know what they want to do, and providing some avenues for them to explore that. So the agreement on the agenda tonight basically would just allow our students to still be enrolled with Fairfield Union, but go to New Lexington for those workforce development experiences. They would still complete all their academic courses here. So there still be our students will still graduate with us, but have the experiences there. So would recommend we approve that, but again, can answer any questions once we get to that point. So.
Okay.
Any questions on that? All right, final thing I have, should have put this under reports and presentations and just forgot about it until after I'd already made the agenda live, so just added this to my report. Asked Mr. DeStadio to give us an update on the state report card. Just want to share how proud I am of our staff, our students, our community, everything that goes into performing well on state testing. It is a true team effort. We have to get kids here to school on time and to do the testing and be rested and, well-fed, energized, ready to go. We have to have, obviously, great staff to provide that instruction throughout the year, and the support, all of our support staff members who every single day, a smile on the face, pat on the back, wishing kids good luck, but they double down during testing. Our bus drivers, our cooks, our maintenance guys, when it's testing time, all of those people really turn up every morning, hey, have a great day, good luck today, give it your best. You hear those things and it makes a difference. And then all of this falls under Mr. DeStadio, and he has just done an incredible job leading testing in the district. And I think you'll see from his report tonight that the results really are incredible. So, Mr. DeStadio?
I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak again this evening. I was sitting back there and kind of thinking to myself, it doesn't seem like it's been an entire year since I last stood here and delivered the kind of State of the Union of the district report card. But time flies when you're having fun, and here we are again. So I want to echo Mr. Belleville's sentiments. First off, I'm going to apologize now because I'm going to forget somebody throughout this entire presentation tonight, because everything he just said really rings true. Everything that we do in this district, it really is a team effort. And one of the hardest things that you do when you're working with a district of over 250 employees is when everybody buys into the overall picture of we're here to do what's right for kids. Amazing things happen. And it really does go from everybody from transportation to custodial to secretaries, to treasurer's department, to the administration, the ISs, the teachers, the paraprofessionals, you name it, the custodians, the secretaries. Everybody has a role to play. And one of the things that you're going to notice in this district is people take immense pride in what they do, the role that they play in a student's development. And when everybody comes together and really does their due diligence day in and day out, we're blessed to be able to work in a district where you're going to see the test scores and the results speak for themselves. So as we go through tonight, I'm really going to try to do my best to highlight a lot of the positive work that's going on in the district. Once again, I apologize because inevitably I will leave out somebody, and it is not intentional, but like I said, I will do my best to try to highlight all the amazing work and professionalism that's going on inside of Fairfield Union Local Schools. What you have in front of you is a data report document, and it's really going to kind of be broken down into two main areas or categories of data. The first one is going to be the state report card, and we'll talk about what the state report card measures are, what those metrics look for, and different plans that we've executed throughout the year. And then the second portion of this is just going to be some more internal metrics and data points that we are looking for to make informed decisions. If you were able to join us for our opening year professional development days in the first couple of days of school, one of our goals this year is to be more data literate. And when it comes to data, everybody kind of gets a little tense when they hear the word data because they don't feel like they have the training to look at data and to make informed decisions, and that's just simply not the case. Without people realizing that data is all around us. It is in our pockets with our cell phones and our computers, it's in the test scores and the grades that we submit each year. So what we really focused on this year was really trying to find ways to teach our staff, find ways to make the data work for you. Whatever it is in your particular day in, day out, job here in the district, find data that doesn't just complement the work you're doing, but find data that's going to help you dig in, continue to maintain the level of excellence that we have, but then find ways to push through and try to grow kids and grow test scores and grow opportunities in different ways. So, like I said, I will do my best to go through this evening. If there are any questions that come up throughout, please let me know. I'll do my best to answer either during the presentation or after. But what you have in front of you once again with your data report, what this allows us to do is compile a comprehensive view of student achievement throughout the district. Quite honestly, one of the things we look for, we always look for the areas of weakness. It is so easy to just focus on the areas of growth and our strengths and our test scores, and we don't do a good enough job throughout the year focusing and really celebrating that enough. But firm believer, at least from my point of view, that the way you continue to improve, though, is not just to focus on the positive, but to find those areas of weakness and find out ways that we can maybe tweak what we're doing or try something completely different to come in and boost those test scores. And really what it comes down to is time. You know, we have, I'll say this every single day that I'm working in this district, we really have the greatest, most professional and most dedicated staff in the county. Wouldn't trade them for anybody. But when it comes down to it, there's only so much time in the day. And it seems like every year there's another requirement, a new law, something's changing from the state level, and nothing comes off our plates. So really one of the most strategic things that we can do is try to find ways to simplify the amount of time it takes to go into the data and really utilize it to the best of our ability. So as we go through this, some of the key findings that you're going to see as we run through it tonight. First off, from a statewide average, you know, we've always said that we're never going to be a slave to the report card. The report card is always one metric, it's one indicator of our overall achievement here in the district, but it is a very important one. It is a very neutral, fair indicator where all schools in the state of Ohio are graded on the same playing field. So from a statewide level, the Fairfield Union Local School District was rated an overall 4-star district again during the 2024-2025 school year. Slight dip from the year before. We were a 4.5-star district, and when we broke down the metrics, we missed it by about 1.5%. So, not to make excuses, we are going to continue to push forward. We're going to find ways to kind of dive into the data. We're competitive. I think everybody in this district takes a lot of pride in what they do. So, while we were slightly disappointed to see that little bit of a dip, when you say it was within 1.5% being right back to where we were, one of the hardest things to do is maintain that level of excellence. And over the past 4 years with the new report card system, we are actually at the highest level we have been overall in terms of percentage points, and then I'll explain through some of the metrics how we, even though we're at the same level, kind of got it down a point or two here or there. Specifically, however, I do want to recognize the outstanding achievement of 2 of our buildings. Both Bremen Elementary and Fairfield Union High School were individually rated as a 4.5-star building. So we have 2 of our buildings at 4.5 stars. Rushville Middle School did another excellent job coming in at 4 stars, and Pleasantville Elementary, once again, with a very, very solid, strong year coming in at 3.5 stars. And those 4 buildings' individual ratings, when you average them together, are what compile the district's 4-star rating. What we then like to do, once we look at it from kind of a 30,000-foot kind of broad perspective in terms of how do we rank with other schools in the state, we start to like to look a little bit more closer to home. When you start to figure out Fairfield County, you know, Fairfield County, to nobody's surprise or shock, is a lot different than Cuyahoga County or Franklin County, you name it. So what we like to do is we also kind of like to take a look here in the county, really compare apples to apples and see with the districts around us, how do we stack up with our competition. When it comes to Fairfield County, Fairfield Union Local School District was actually 2nd overall. We tied with Bloom Carroll for 27 total stars. The only school district that outperformed this past year was Liberty Union. Liberty Union had an outstanding year of 29.5 total stars. So kudos to our neighbors there in Baltimore, Thurston area. We've shared a lot of professional developments with these school districts over the past couple of years, and there's always a lot of friendly banter and a lot of friendly competition. So now we have something that we know we can work for next year. Additionally, within the Fairfield County group, so we're talking Fairfield Union, Bloom Carroll, Amanda Clear Creek, Liberty Union, Millersport, Lancaster, and Pickerington. Of all those districts, when you look at the state report card, there's 6 individual categories plus the overall star rating, so I call that 7 total categories. We ranked either 1st or 2nd in 6 of the 7 categories. So always areas we can dive in and improve with our strategic plans and our DLTs and DLTs and all the administrative groups and meetings that we have throughout the year. We're going to dive in with the data, and we do believe there are a couple of areas where we can leverage a little bit more of our resources and time to bump that up. But once again, you know, the performance speaks for itself. Our staff is one of the most professional, most talented, most dedicated staffs anywhere in the state. And once again, to be first or second in 6 of the 7 reporting categories just shows you the tremendous amount of pride that they take in teaching and working here at Fairfield Union, and just the love we have for our kids. You know, we want to give our kids the best education and just the most opportunities that we can, and that takes a lot of individual pride, but then as a team of over, like I said, 250 staff members or so, just an amazing, amazing feat that I want to recognize here this evening. Additionally, from a building level perspective, I do want to point out that for the second year in a row, the College, Career, Military, and Workforce Indicator, which is one of the newest indicators on the state report card, Fairfield Union High School, for the second year in a row, had the highest ranking on the College, Career, Military, Workforce Readiness Indicator. You know, historically, over the past 50, 60 years, public schools were designed to push kids into higher education. And over about the past 5 to 10 years, there's been a major paradigm shift here in Ohio, where no longer is that the sole purpose of K through K-12 districts, but we also want to start giving kids opportunities who maybe are going to go into the workforce. So one of the things that we really tried to do, and we tried to be ahead of the game on this, we were really trying to come up with other pathways and other opportunities for students who either knew that they were not going to go to college, or if they knew they wanted to go into the military, or if they knew they wanted to go into the career centers or the workforce development programs. We want to give kids opportunities that fit whatever they feel their future needs are going to be. It can be a little tricky because I'm 40 years old and sometimes I feel like I don't know what I want to do with my life and maybe want to change direction as I get older. And I used to laugh and talk when I was a teacher and a principal in the building. You know, one of the hardest things that we do to an 18-year-old kid is say, what do you want to do for the next 40 years of your life? So what we've tried to do is from the day that they enter Fairfield Union High School, we have opportunities, we have pathways that we can show students different avenues for employment after graduation. And we really rely on the students and the families to look at that information and work with their guidance counselors and teachers and principals to develop a plan that's going to put them in the driver's seat. Once again, whatever that might be, once they graduate and walk out of Fairfield Union, we want to give as many opportunities as possible. You know, as you see this evening, we're going to have now an agreement with New Lexington. So we're always going to continue to try to find avenues to offer to our students, to give them as many opportunities as possible. And I think a lot of places, if you look into it, a district our size with our resources, you'll be very hard-pressed to find a place that offers as much as we do for our students K through 12. When it comes to state exams, one of the first things we like to do is we like to start and see how do we compare test score-wise to the state average. And of the 20 different state exams that are given from grades 3 through high school, out of those 20, we scored above the state average in 85%, 17 of the 20 exams. When you look at the data, it is not unreasonable that you're going to find about 5 or 6 different tested areas and grade levels where they are double digits above state average. So our staff is just doing a tremendous job of, at least for that statistic, making sure that the students not only get through the curriculum, but really understand the curriculum, so at the end of the year, in March and April, they can showcase their knowledge on the state exams. When it comes to looking at a little bit more internal measure, I am proud to say that the Fairfield Union Local School District received a perfect 4-star, so a different rating scale, 4-star perfect rating scale on the special education state report card. When you look at special education in Ohio and America in the year 2025, you are talking some of the highest needs for students. You are talking about some of our most vulnerable students. And when it comes down to accommodations and modifications and strengths and weaknesses of this particular subgroup of kids, no two kids are the same. No two kids have the same, identical plans, interests, hobbies, strengths, and weaknesses. And yet our team here was able to figure out a way to provide the best education we could possible for them. I really want to shout out our director, John Turnbull, our school psychologist, Tricia Rogers, and her assistant, Mariah Allen, for the incredible work that they do to lead up our special education department. On top of that, then the countless intervention specialists and paraprofessionals that work within this group to try to level the playing field for some of our most vulnerable students. So to receive a 4-star perfect rating in a time where number of federal and state laws, you are always under the microscope. And it's very, very hard to make sure that you have covered all of your bases just in terms of the statistics, let alone then see the performance that our kids have. Incredible work being done by our special education department. And then finally, on this first page, I would like to shout out to Mr. Schaefer, who's sitting here in the back. Fairfield Union High School, of all the school districts that I had mentioned earlier in Fairfield County, Fairfield Union High School was rated the highest high school in Fairfield County. So tremendous work going on across the district. The 4.5-star rating is pretty impressive. And like I said, as we continue on here, we'll dive into some more metrics and see if there's any questions I can answer for you. As you flip to the next page, we'll start talking about the state report card specifically. When it comes to the data analytics or the data analysis, the state report card is broken up into 6 categories, and not all categories are created equal. The first 2 categories, achievement and progress, compose 50% of your entire overall rating, while then the subsequent 4 additional categories at roughly 12.5% each come up with the other 50%. So as you start to go through the report card, the first one, the one that we really spend the most time on, the one that you really hear the most about in the news, is achievement. Achievement, for simpler terms, is how did we do on the state exams. So as we go through, the achievement calculation is actually calculated not just by how well did our kids do in terms of overall averages or passage rates on the state exams, but there's actually something called the performance index, which in general is a weighted category, weighted scale scoring system that the better our kids score in the exam, the more overall points we get awarded for this category. So for every student who takes the exam, you get points, and then this is the part that gets a little tricky, a little bit frustrating. You could have, theoretically, your best performing year in the history of your school district. And even though your kids have scored better than they ever have before, you might not get a higher rating this year than you did last year, because once you calculate your performance index, they take your performance and they compare it up against the top 2% of highest performing districts in the state of Ohio. So, when you start to think about the dynamics and the socioeconomics and the resource management and the availability, when we get paired up and compared against the top 2 highest, best performing districts in the state of Ohio, we still came out with a 4-star rating, and we actually are about 0.5% higher than we were last year. So tremendous work is being done across the district. As I said, 17 out of the 20 tested areas we scored higher than the state average, and then we dive a little bit deeper. We started looking at trend data, how we compared against ourselves for the past couple of years, how do we compare those test scores with local neighbors. So there's a lot of conversations and a lot of extra work that goes into those conversations behind the scenes. Once again, 85% above state average in terms of the 20 tests across the state. And then as we start to look more internally here within Fairfield County, of those 20 tests, we actually are first or second in 60% of those 20 exams when we look at all of the schools in Fairfield County. So lots and lots of hard work and dedication, professionalism, pride that go into teaching. We use this indicator to help us look at our curriculum maps or pacing guides. What are we teaching? How are we teaching it? How fast or how slow do we need to go as we're teaching these particular standards? And the achievement rating is the highest it's been in the past 3 years. So kudos to all of our staff, not just tested areas. Kindergarten through 2nd grade is just as important to make sure we learn and get that foundation to make them successful than as they pass off the work to the colleagues all the way through graduation. The second category that we really look at and put a lot of emphasis on, because the state puts a lot of emphasis on, is progress. Progress is probably, in my opinion, the most important one. It's about student growth. You know, a kid can have a bad day here or there, and if they have a bad day, and it happens to be the day they took their state exam, that's not always a true indicator of their ability level. So what we look to do is look to see progress as well. We want to make sure that when kids enter our classroom from day 1 to the time that they leave us at the end of 180 so rough days, we want to make sure that we grew them and we pushed them as much as we possibly could. And for every kid, that's going to look different. Not every kid has the same supports and resources at home, so we really try our best to make sure we give every student that walks through our doors a free and appropriate, public education to the best of our abilities. So what you may have heard the progress term referred to most commonly is value added. The state of Ohio will take last year's test scores, they'll look at last year's performance for every single kid, and that's one of the things that we track on the back end before testing starts. And at the beginning of the next school year, they will determine for us what this particular student's target goal should be for the end of the next school year. A lot of controversy about that process and how it's calculated. No input necessarily from the buildings and the teachers, but at the end of the day, we do have a blueprint, so to speak, from the state that says if we're doing our job, we should get a kid from point A to point B. And as we look here once again this year, for last school year, I should say the 24-25 school year, the district once again received a 4-star rating for our progress for our students. So incredible amounts of work and dedication, conversations that go around that process to make sure that we do our best and we do our due diligence to give every student an environment where they're capable of growing. And a lot of that goes into that measure there. The third measure you'll see down there is gap closing. It's an equity measure, and really what gap closing looks at is how do we perform in terms of how are we serving all of our students. So what you'll see a lot of times with certain school districts is certain groups of their students do really well and other groups do very, very poorly. So we're going to look at subgroups like gifted, special education, high socioeconomics, low socioeconomics, any little subgroup that kind of gives us a big picture of all of the students that live within the Fairfield Union local school district. We want to see how are we serving all of our students. Are there different areas where we're excelling? Are there places where we're not doing so well? And once again, that kind of comes back to our resource management allocation of what can we do for certain pockets of students to make sure that they do get the same opportunities and equity across the board. Once again, Fairfield Union received a 4 out of 5 star rating on the gap closing or the equity measures for last school year. Number 4 is really pretty self-explanatory, graduation rate. We want to make sure, it's crazy to think when a parent drops off their kid in kindergarten, at age 6, maybe 7, that at some point they're going to be 18 years old walking across that football field. And really everything that we do and everything we strive for in this district is to make sure they get there with as much support, and resources as possible. We are once again topping the county 96% graduation rate over 4 years. 5-star rating. Our area of biggest concern and where we're going to focus, we've already started to do a lot of work over the past couple of years, is in early literacy. For early literacy as a district, we did receive a 2-star rating. Early literacy's subcomponents or subgroups that get factored into this overall rating are going to be 3. It's promotion to 4th grade. It's going to be how did the 3rd graders specifically do on the reading sub-portion of the exam, not the writing. And additionally, how many students in grades K through 4 who entered the school year on a RIMP, a reading improvement plan, how well did we do at trying to catch them up and get them to read at grade level? So when we break down all 3 of those areas, that's what composes our ratings. One of the things that we anticipated this year was potential of a slight dip from the year before. The reason for that is last year the state of Ohio required all school districts to implement the Science of Reading curriculum. The Science of Reading is a much more systematic, scientific approach of how to break down the standards of reading and teach them to kids in certain order. Whenever you implement a new program district-wide, I think it's only reasonable to expect there's going to be a little bit of a growing curve, a little bit of growing pains. So we actually only dipped by about half a point. When we went through and did our calculations, overall from the 2 buildings, it was about a 1.8% difference that would have bumped us back up to a 3-star rating. So even with the new curriculum, we're still hovering right around where we performed last year. When it comes to analytics, my internal measure is about a plus or minus 2%. If you're within about plus or minus 2% of last year, those are kind of typical normal fluctuations that you would expect to see from year to year, just because of the variables that teachers experience. New set of students, issues in somebody's personal life. There's a lot of things that can kind of impact how a year goes. So we're right on par with where we were last year, a little bit below. So in addition to implementing this new curriculum, we've had after 1 year a lot of great conversations at the elementary levels with Mr. Roger Knott, with Lydia Tokars, this year with Riley Montgomery, and then our teachers, our BLTs, and our TBTs at the elementary. What did we like about the system from last year? Now that we're comfortable with it, let's analyze it. What worked really well for us? And where do we feel maybe the system itself, the program itself was lacking? And one of the conversations that we had this last school year, this summer, was the area of writing. So even though the standard itself is graded on reading, we have a strong belief that, we think that we can increase the reading by also increasing the rigor of the writing as well. Amanda Barr, one of our coaches at the elementary school, has done an amazing job this year of providing some professional development and pushing into both elementaries to try to help them take some of what the teachers felt was a little bit lacking in terms of the writing process in the science of reading curriculum and finding ways to beef it up or supplement it. And we're really excited to see where that process is going to take us this year. Very hopeful we'll get back to that 3-star rating that we were last year, and then the potential to grow and go further from there. The final indicator on the report card is, once again, the college, career, workforce, and military readiness indicator. Last year and this year, we were highest in the county, right around 81%. This year, that does put us about 5 to 6 percentage points higher than any other high school in the county. And once again, the focal point there is with the Ohio Department of Education turning to the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, we want to make sure that when kids leave our halls, no matter what career path they choose, they're going to have the training, the background to be successful. So we've put a lot of emphasis there. We have also started our new workforce development program within the high school, so we can take advantage of career center opportunities, the workforce development opportunities, and then neighboring, associated agreements that we have with school districts, people within the community. And it's not really a hard thing to figure out. When the community is strong and people have jobs, and your community can support itself, it's going to kind of come back tenfold to the schools. So we really see that as a partnership that we want to do a better job of trying to get out to the community members and talk with them and see, what's the need. Everywhere you look, it seems like people are struggling to find workers nowadays. And you look at high schools, and we have thousands and thousands of kids here. So what are we missing? What parts do we think we're hitting, but maybe we're not really hitting the mark on? So lots of conversations with community members, small business owners. What are you looking for in terms of a new hire? What are those soft skills? Things like being professional, being on time, dressing appropriately. What are some of those things that we can maybe find a way to kind of incorporate into the daily activities we do at all of our buildings to maybe try to help kind of fill some of that void? At this point, are there any questions, anything I can answer for them? Maybe I didn't do a good job. I won't spend time on the next couple minutes going through the next couple pages. The next 4 pages, 5 pages are going to be the overall report card metrics from the state of Ohio that will give you that deep dive into exactly those 6 categories and areas, how well do you score. As you continue flipping through your packet, pages 10 through 14 are going to start to be that 3-year trend data analytics that we look at internally to see how we're doing. For example, when you look on page 10, high school is absolutely knocking it out of the ballpark. Once again, of the 6 tested areas in the state of Ohio for end-of-course exams, which are important for graduation, Fairfield Union High School scored first in 5 of the 6. The 6th area, we scored second by about 2%. So when you look at any statistic, analytic at the high school, we're excelling across the board. We have in every single tested area 3 continuous years of growth, 3 continuous years of being right around double digits above the state average. So the high school team has done an amazing job over the past 3, 4, 5 years of really taking processes, implementing the expectations building wide, giving them the training, the resources, and the know-how to make sure we can kind of attack these state exams to the best of our ability. Once again, not the end-all be-all. You could have a bad day, score really bad on a test, and you're still going to be a very, very successful person later on in life. But from a completely fair kind of, step back from the situation and engaging things on an equal level, great to see the work that's going on at the high school. As you go through the middle school, grades 5 through 8, Of the 10 areas there, we're above the state average and showing positive growth in 8 of the 10. And then you're going to see the same trends continue as you get down to the elementary school, with 3 out of the 4 areas showing 3 years of continuous improvement, well above state averages in English and math for most of our students across the board. And then obviously our area that we're going to focus in this year and trying to get those English test scores up a little bit higher. Any questions on the internal metrics that we're tracking using? Over the next 4 pages, you will see the county comparisons at the end of each year. As much as we are competitive with our neighbors, there's always a lot of good conversation, collaboration that goes on. We get phone calls, we send out phone calls and emails, hey, we saw that you guys did really well here, what did you guys do differently, how did you approach that? So as you start to look across, once again, Fairfield Union was second behind only Liberty Union in terms of the district overall rating. Fairfield Union High School was first overall in the district. As you flip through to the middle school was actually tied for second in the district, or in Fairfield County for overall star ratings. And then as you move down to the elementary schools, very, very positive momentum at both Freeman and Pleasant Elementary. And as I said earlier in the presentation, Freeman overall 4.5-star rating puts it tied for first place in Fairfield County when you look at the elementary statistics on the state report. A few more district highlights that I'd like to kind of wrap up and finish on. Once again, everything we've talked about here tonight is data, it's test scores, and it's the things that we say we don't put all the emphasis on. But there's so many other components that we're doing behind the scenes to make these numbers so positive. We do take a whole child approach to education to the best of our ability, because we do know that students are going to first need to feel loved and safe before they can learn. So some of the other highlights that we have here as we try to kind of take that whole child approach. As I said a little bit ago, Fairfield Union finished first out of 5 of the 6 end of course exams and second in the last one. Moving down to the middle school, lots and lots of phenomenal teachers there, but one area that's easy to point out and highlight is our 8th grade test scores. The 8th grade team of Deb Gatton, Ellie Deal, Deb Young, Rachel Thomas, Marla Grubb, and Pam Dixon. As you look
James
at, what's that?
James Miller.
And James Miller as well. I apologize for James. Social studies is not a tested area on the report card, but his work and his expertise is every bit as important as the ones who are. So thank you, Mr. Belleville. As we look across there, they received overall 2nd place rating in the Fairfield County comparison for the great work that they're doing. And as you look back for the past couple of years, they are 1st or 2nd every year. And once again, for people who have been in that position, to know how hard it is to not only get to that level, but then achieve that level, that standard, and keep it consistent throughout the years is absolutely a job well done. When it comes to elementaries, Bremen Elementary was ranked 1st in the county with overall performance, once again with 4.5 stars. But I do want to highlight some great work that's going on at Pleasantville as well. Last year, the 4th grade team came to Mrs. Tokars and myself and said, hey, our test scores are okay in math, but we feel like we're missing something. We feel like there's more that we can do, and we just don't know quite what to do. So we sat down as a team, Ms. Tokars, myself, and then the 3rd grade teachers, and we kind of came up with a plan, a little data analysis of some things that we have tried and used, and it's worked over the years. And throughout the year, we put together some short cycle assessments, and we utilized the state practice systems a little bit more than we usually do at that level. And I am proud to say that from the previous school year to last year, that team of teachers improved our math test scores by 11%, which are already one of the highest in the county the year prior to, which actually put us 22% above the state average in 4th grade math test scores last year. So the work done last year by Liz Walton, Tony McCafferty, and Jess Schmitz cannot be understated. Brittany Buki was also part of that process as well. And like I said, I'm going to forget people throughout this presentation, but so much positive going on in the district that I guess it's a good problem to have, and I'm probably going to forget people as we go through. A couple of other indicators that we look at here internally. PBIS, Positive Behaviors, Interventions, and Supports, is a requirement in the state of Ohio. What that really focuses on is giving kids support on the emotional side to make sure that they can grow and develop emotionally. When they do that properly, they can grow and develop educationally from a curriculum aspect. So we've done a really heavy lift over the past 3 years at all 4 buildings where we really wanted to start over, kind of wipe out our PBIS processes and build it from the ground up the way that we felt comfortable. And in doing so, we actually had an 8% decrease in chronic absenteeism district-wide over the past 3 years. When kids are excited and want to come to school, nothing but positive is going to come from that. So we really did a very intentional job of trying to find ways to make sure that people want to come to school and that they've got the supports to get here and when they're here to be successful. Because of the hard work that we have there, of the 4 buildings, one of the things that we did behind the scenes over the past 3 years was we collected a lot of data. We put in some applications for the state of Ohio, and I am proud to say that just last week we were notified Bremen Elementary, Pleasantville Elementary, and Fairfield Union High School were all awarded the PBIS Bronze Star Award from the state of Ohio. The middle school, we're going to continue to work and do amazing things there. One of our outside contributors is Miss Lindsay Rayner from the Muskingum Valley ESC, and as we were going through the process, she's involved in a lot of it. She did nothing but rave about the middle school. So I know they're going to be very disappointed that they did not also achieve that award, but I know that they're going to get right back to the drawing board with us, and we're going to get right back on the horse, so to speak, tomorrow, and we're going to continue to push that program forward. And we stated at the beginning of this process that we are not putting this in place to try to receive any awards. It's great when we can also receive that recognition, but the positive impact that the middle schools program has had over the past year is noticeable. So we're going to continue that trend and we're going to continue to push forward, but I did want to recognize the other 3 schools because in addition to the buildings, when you have a district our size, has 60% or more of the buildings who are recognized, we've also earned the District Bronze Star Award for PBIS in the state of Ohio. To put that into perspective, roughly about 10% of schools get that each year. So all around, overall, we're trying to provide as many resources and supports for our students. I think we're doing a pretty good job. Last but not least, you have on here graduation and beyond. We are trying to make sure that we give opportunities and pathways to all students from all backgrounds, from all walks of life. So we have incorporated over the past year 19 in-house CCP courses, so college level courses, either through High University, we've had them through the years through Hocking and Zane State, and then most recently a big partnership with Muskingum University that we were able to bring in and secure last year. So we have students who never have to leave the high school building, and they can sign up for dual enrollment courses. They can take a class here at the high school with an accredited teacher, and they can earn 19 different classes worth of college credit before they ever walk out of Fairfield Union. So trying to give that opportunity. In addition to, you can still get in your car and drive to OUL or try online classes. But one of the biggest things that we noticed was travel was a barrier for a lot of our students. Families didn't have an extra car that the kid could drive around, or maybe just financially, paying for the gas to get to and from, Fairfield Union to OUL a couple of times a week, which is not feasible. So we wanted to try to find ways to knock down that barrier. In addition to the 19 in-house college level courses, we do offer 6 in-house AP or advanced placement courses. Prior to the CCP courses really coming on the scene and being an opportunity, AP was the route that you could go to earn college credits. So when it comes to our AP courses, record year, once again, for the high school. We had the highest number of students ever enrolled in our AP program. 2 years ago was 103 students, last year was 154. It's right around a 49% increase in terms of just overall numbers. We also had a record high number of kids, quote unquote, pass the exam. To pass the exam, it's a 1 through 5 scale. You need to get a 3 through 5 for most colleges and universities to honor that and give you credit. We had a record number of 3s, 4s, and 5s, doubled last year's numbers. So our AP teachers are just doing an outstanding job of giving those opportunities to our kids. If I can read my own chicken scratch here, we're going to continue to look at other opportunities to try to bring in some more AP courses in the future if at all possible. Additionally to that, we offer 3 CTE in-house pathways for students who are maybe not quite sure they want to go the college route, but it's going to give them opportunities to experience a wide variety of workforce opportunities. These would be the students who maybe typically might look to go to a career center, to try to come up with a career plan for those students who maybe don't have the plan laid out and they know exactly what they want to do. The Career Center is very, very competitive. A couple buildings to get into. We can still offer them 3 different pathways here at the high school that will give them some training, some guidance as they move forward to postgraduate courses. In a lot of our pathways, we're trying to find ways to give them some certifications. So even if it's not going to be an apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship program like they might see at the Career Center, it's still going to give them some level of training so that when they do step foot on a job site somewhere, they maybe have a little bit more than the person next to them who just did the traditional take regular classes and get a high school diploma. So we're still trying to find ways to give them a little bit of a leg up, for whatever life after graduation holds for them. And then, of course, we have our new establishment of the workforce development program with Mr. Denny here in high school, and I think you're going to see over the next couple of years a lot of great things coming there. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
Amazing.
Sounds good.
I mean,
Yeah.
amazing data. I mean, it's nice to see comparison against other county schools, just to kind of put us, help it. It's, data's hard to understand at times, but when you're comparing to other schools and kind of have an idea of what others are doing around you, it's nice to see that we're at the top and performing well, so.
They make my job easy to stand up here and brag about them, so tremendous work.
Outstanding presentation, Mr. Stadio, and in-depth, and like I say, it's wonderful to see Fairfield Union Schools being so successful. So, thank you. Thanks for your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. With superintendent updates, we'll turn to 2.2. We'll turn to Mrs. Roberts, treasurer updates.
Okay, thank you. Just one item for this evening, and this is honestly really just to have some discussion on this point. So earlier this fall, Matt Smith and I were able to walk every single building in our district with Ohio School Plan, with a risk management representative. So Ohio School Plan has our liability insurance for the district. And this is standard practice every few years that we have a representative come to the district and just really tour and say, okay, are there any areas that we maybe need to take another look and take some recommendations and possibly take some actions in order to reduce or mitigate any potential exposure to any liabilities. So it was a full day. It was very in-depth. I mean, we were in every single nook and cranny of every single building, really, really looking through things. I will say that the representative that was with us was very, very impressed. Overall, had amazing things to say about the district, said several times he would love to use our district as a model district for just the great work that the team has done. So overall, he felt really good leaving here, that we were in a really good place. That being said, he said, I have to find a few things here and there. So it's part of it. There's always going to be room for improvement. So he came back to the district with 7 different items. I will say across the board, we have moved forward with 6 of the 7 items. Pretty small things. There was, an additional class that our teachers and staff need to look at taking within, like on a PD day. There was some posters to put up in a weight room. There's just some things that are, just some, not necessarily easy fixes, but low-hanging fruit of things that he said, okay, take a look at these and I feel you should be good to go. That being said, one of the items that came up, in all honesty, even Mr. Belleville and I kind of spoke about it, and Matt Smith and I spoke about it, and we said this really requires some more discussion. And it was around it's labeled facility security, and it's just around public access to our track and stadium during school hours. We know that, especially this campus, between the middle school, high school, and the stadium, our community values the use of the campus. We have a lot of walkers. We have a lot of people who use the campus, and rightfully so. It's an amazing place to walk and use those facilities. What we just wanted to talk about is there thoughts, and I know Mr. Belleville has questions too, but are there thoughts, does anybody have any strong feelings one way or the other on if we would want to limit the use of just the track and stadium during school hours. We have a lot of student groups that are up there, you know, gym classes that are walking the track. They just felt like that could be something that when there's a class being held specifically on the track, do we want to limit community use at that time? Just wanted to bring that forward for discussion. I will say, these are items that are recommended. They are not items that we have to say, yes, we are 100% moving forward with. It's something to have a discussion and decide, you know, do we feel strongly that, you know, we feel good about the current process and we want to continue moving forward, or do we want to have some restrictions? So strictly for discussion at this point, we do have to go back to this representative and just kind of list out our action points of the different 7 recommendations. So this was one, you know, that when we talked through it, we just kind of said, you know what, it probably requires more of a discussion. And just wanted to get your thoughts, or if anybody has any strong feelings one way or the other.
Does that affect the land lab as well, because that's the entrance to it, or not?
He did not specifically call that out, but in theory, when you talk about a class being out there, it would be a similar concept. He did not call out the land lab. He specifically called out the track and the stadium, and we were out there at the entrance. I mean, he saw it, he knew. So his specific call out was track and stadium.
I know we get a lot of use, you know, after hours and on the weekends, but I guess I don't know personally that much, how much is there actual during school hours?
It's pretty minimal during the day. Some of the questions that I had, I guess I don't understand calling out the stadium and track, but not necessarily the campus in general. Because we have a lot of people that come and walk the whole campus,
Yeah.
especially during the school day. Land lab, as you mentioned, you know, the people that use our campus during the school day are community members that we know and recognize. Rarely do we see a stranger just randomly walking around. If it's somebody we don't know or recognize, we approach them, we question why they're here, so on and so forth. But I don't understand calling out the stadium track, but you'll let any unknown Amazon driver actually enter the building with a box, and who knows what's in the box. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me that you would specifically call out the track.
I guess my challenge is what's the difference between during the school day and right immediately after, when we still have kids out there on the track?
Correct.
Running, practicing, whatever it may be. I guess I'm trying to figure out what's the liability difference in the timing of it, and.
Yeah, because we have athletes using the facilities till 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Right, I guess I would think there'd be less use during the daytime, so less exposure than what we have immediately after school.
And he did say during times of school/student use. So after school, you know, when there's practices out there, that's student use. So I completely agree. You know.
I have no idea how you'd even police that, especially after school,
Yeah.
during student usage.
And Matt Smith and I, we spoke to that, and we talked through that of, you know, how do you, we have resource officers in each of our buildings, but how do you then also do, you know, it is an outdoor open facility, you know, so I think it'd be one thing if we had an indoor facility that was inside. I think that's a very different situation.
Yeah. I do too.
Was the call out simply fear of someone getting hurt on the property or causing harm to a student? Did he mention that?
It was more around just the access to students through a community. So it was not as much around somebody getting hurt. It really didn't go down that path. It was really just the interaction of community and students during that time.
And that happens at every sporting event, so I'm trying to figure out what's the difference.
Well, like you said, these were not mandates.
They are not.
These
They
were
are not.
just suggestions
Something
that.
pointed out.
So it's not necessarily anything that impacts our rate, or?
It does not necessarily impact our rate. What it's trying to do is to say, down the road, if something were to happen, you can go in and say, okay, we have done everything possible to prevent whatever it may be. And that list of things could be anything. So that's where, and he's also coming at it from a risk management. So he's coming at, that is his
Sure.
job, is
Yeah,
to
sure.
try to poke holes in things. That is his
Right.
job, is to come, that's his role. So, you know.
Yeah.
And we can move forward and say, we're continuing monitoring, we can move forward and feel confident, like Mr. Belleville said, we typically know who's on this campus, we know the cars, we know the people who are in and out for the most part. And we can have, that can be some of the response back, and we can move from there.
Everybody okay with continuing monitoring?
I think so. If it's just a suggestion, then I don't,
Yeah.
I just hate to put
I don't
a
know if it's enough to
restriction on
change
our
or-
community to
yeah.
be able to use,
Yeah.
I mean.
make it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
if
because
we
if it's during student years, you're talking even in the summer when a group
Yeah.
is practicing or something, and
Yeah.
during those times, there are a lot of people who
Yeah,
would be turned away, myself being one.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Right,
retirees that come out here. a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think in the evenings, in the fall, when you have all of our youth football league out there, youth soccer, those are all students.
Yeah.
Facilities are being used. Well, there are parents everywhere. I
Yeah.
I don't know how we'd even begin to force them to stay in their cars or.
And it's great
Yeah.
that we've been able to address so many of the suggestions that
Right.
were made.
Completely
That's
agree.
good.
And like I said, he repeatedly stated, that he wishes he could use our district as a model district. So he repeatedly stated that. He was very impressed with the facilities and with the work that all the teams are doing. So, feeling very, very good. But like I said, it's his role to
Yeah,
try to
sure,
poke holes
sure.
in things. So that was just
Absolutely.
where, okay. Well,
Okay, we'll continue as is.
Thank you.
Continue monitoring this. So, okay, Mrs. Roberts, well, thank you for bringing it to our attention. Appreciate it. All right. No other updates from Mrs. Roberts then? We'll move on to recognition of visitors. No one signed in? Okay. Public comment. So that'll move us on to the consent agenda section, workshop and conferences. Board members see the two workshops, conferences that are coming along. So unless there's any thoughts or questions, as you look at those, I'll give you just a minute. If there-
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
We're not done with
We'll do that in the consent agenda, yeah. We'll go into financial items and then we'll move, but if, yeah, any thoughts with those conferences? If not, we'll move into financial items. Okay, let's move into financial items. We'll turn to Mrs. Roberts, please.
Okay, 2 donations this evening to start off. First, we have a donation of $1,000 from Lowell and Carolyn Fisher Family Community Service to the Honor Society's Christmas shopping trip, so for the students who were just in here. So very, very happy to see that. We also have a donation of a 1961 Case 630 tractor to the Fairfield Union High School Agriculture Department from Larry Keller. And this does have an approximate value of about $1,000. So I know the class in there is going to be working on that tractor, so they were really excited to receive that. Then I also have our October financial and insurance report. So I'm going to start out with the financial summary. Overall, for the district, we have received a total of $13.4 million compared to $13.5 million last year, so very, very even. Property taxes are down 10%. However, this is still due to that one-time PUP tax payment that we received last year. Income tax is up 6%. State grants, so state foundation, is flat to last year. And then other revenue really in line with last year. So overall, our revenue is really tracking to where we thought it would be from a forecast and also tracking to last year. Expenditures do have some differences. We've spent just under $9 million this year compared to 8.5 last year. Salaries are up 4% to last year. Benefits are down 8%. This is due to just a change in some of the pay dates and how we're seeing that and where some of those insurance payments fell. Purchase services, this is going to look on paper very different. It is up 39% to last year. However, our ESC payments for the first quarter of the school year were paid in October this year versus November of last year. So by the time we get through this month, by the time we get through November, we will be back apples to apples. So that's just a shift in payment time. It's not that it is actually up 39% right now. Supplies, same thing that we've been calling out, up 28% due to laptop purchases, and our transfers are the exact same transfers from last year. So overall, our ending cash balance is at $12.1 million compared to 22.5, and that is due to that capital improvement transfer. So that's where that change is coming from. So overall, honestly, tracking the forecast, tracking to where for the main revenue and expenditures tracking to last year, and just kind of moving right along. Somehow we're already 4 months through this year and cannot believe that. Any questions on the financial side of it? Okay, moving into insurance. Our health insurance is having a rough year. Our revenue is right in line to last year. However, our claims are up 27% to last year. I will say we actually just last week had our overall health plan review with United Healthcare, and we have seen drastic increases in United Healthcare will break down the different types of claims, the category that our major claims fall under. They will compare us to overall their book of business. They will compare us to our previous year, and we are significantly higher than everything. We are, we're monitoring it. We are looking at, okay, what does that mean for go forward? We did increase our monthly premiums by 10% for Plan A and 3% for Plan B. With that, we were planning on we were sitting right around $4 million at the beginning of the year, and we were using some of those funds in order to offset the high premium increases. So our premiums actually should have gone up higher, but we said, okay, we've done a really good job of managing this. We have a high balance. Let's use some of that. Let's take advantage of some of that $4 million and help offset those high premiums. We were planning on those high premiums to use about $360,000 to offset. We have already used $344,000 of what we planned. So we are still in a fine position. We are still sitting at $3.8 million. So we are still okay, but we are just seeing these significantly high claims. So obviously watching that as we go through, if there's anything that we can ever work with UHC on, we are, and then starting to look at just what is the future of our insurance plans and what are we doing go forward. Dental insurance, it's kind of the opposite story. We're actually doing really well in dental insurance. We continue to just kind of truck along. We're sitting at $260,000. Our claims are down 10% to last year. So overall dental insurance is right where it should be. Really happy to see. It's kind of nice when you see money in, money out is very equal. It just means that it's funded at exactly where it needs to be. So overall, very, very happy with dental. And we'll continue to monitor health insurance, and we're in a good spot. This is why we have that $4 million to fund. We know insurance can be, a roller coaster, and this just happens to be a time when we are having some high claims. Any questions on either of those? Okay, that is it for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Roberts, for the financial item updates. Appreciate that. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as recommended by the superintendent and treasurer.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Dingmeister. Would there be a second?
Oh, second.
Second by Mr. Hoffman. Discussion. No discussion. Turn the question to turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed, unanimous. Moves us in the new business section, 5.1, resignation. Motion to approve the resignation of James Short as high school aide effective November 10th. Mr. Belleville had commented about that earlier, and you have the resignation attachment in front of you.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Would there be a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Johns. Discussion. A discussion would turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed, unanimous. 5.2, resignation, motion to approve the resignation of David Getz as Assistant Maintenance Employee effective January 5th, 2026. All board members have that attachment of Mr. Getz' resignation as well.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Smeltzer. I'll second that. Discussion. Discussion. Turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Motion passed, unanimous. 5.3, house demolition, Seals Construction and Company. Motion to approve the house demolition at 6555 Cincinnati Zanesville Road, Rushville, by the Seals Construction and Company at the cost of $38,512.50. All board members have that attachment in front of you.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Johns. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hoffman. Discussion. No discussion. Turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed, unanimous. 5.4, superintendent agreement with New Lexington for student access to workforce development. There is a motion to approve the superintendent agreement with New Lexington Schools to allow Fairfield Union students access to the New Lexington Workforce Center for the 2025-2026 school year. Agreement, the attachments in front of you. Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smeltzer. Discussion. No discussion. Turn to question. Return to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes, motion passed unanimous. Does move us into executive session. Adjournment into executive session. A motion to adjourn into executive session accordance with section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Numbers 1 and 6.
Numbers 1 and 6, and there'll be no
No action.
action taken out once we come out of executive session. So I'd entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Hoffman. I'll second that. Turn to question. Turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll call, please.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous at 8:18.